Hey y'all, what if I could tell you that bikes equal freedom? Join me today as I tell you my bike packing story and what it means to me. Today's route, I'm going to take left-hand canyon up to Rowena Trail. So a little bit of a pavement climb up to Rowena. Potentially make my way up to Gold Hill. We'll see how I feel. But I thought it would be fun to just take you along and share my story. And also, it's a beautiful day here in the Front Range. So, why tell my story? Why does it even matter? Why now? Why should you care? Well, there's a few different reasons. Mainly, with today's current political climate in the US and potentially 3.3 million acres of public lands being up for sale, I thought it was appropriate to tell my story and why and how I connect through my bike to nature and the outdoors and public lands. I also constantly wonder about people I admire or am inspired by as to why they do what they do. And I feel like it's a good means to build a connection with all of you, to tell more of my story and why biking to me equals freedom. And if you watched my first video that really debuted the channel, I mentioned that it was important to me to have depth behind what I share and the things that I'm posting in my videos. And so I felt like this was a perfect fit to that approach. And so my hope is that this video will help you get to know me a little bit more and also inspire you to take some form of action to protect our lands, the lands that mean so much to me. Right now we just hopped on the left-hand trail. Super fun single track. So we'll take this north and then we'll cut west up left-hand canyon. It's one of the reasons why I love traveling by bike, is to see the landscape change minute by minute. Right there is the Flatirons. My house is way over there. So even if the changes are subtle, pretty cool. So my story starts off not all that uncommon. Some of my earliest memories as a kid were around bikes. My parents grew up taking me camping, and with that we would always bring our bicycles, riding around the campgrounds. I also lived on for a portion of my childhood on 5 acres, and so I grew up riding bikes through the woods and through cornfields, and I was into racing motocross from a young age, and so I spent a good portion of my childhood traveling to different county fairs around Ohio racing motocross. And I think it was those specific experiences that really cemented in me my love for adventure and my love for bikes. And you know, it's funny because it really wasn't until relocating out west that I really rediscovered this passion. And growing up in the time that I did, it's just what kids did around the neighborhood, right? Like everybody was riding bikes, whether it was to school, whether it was to the park. And I definitely remember some of my first bikes as a kid. One was a Mongoose. It was a coaster brake, and it was the bike that I rode around with friends around the neighborhood. My other bike of memory from my childhood was an X Games. It had 2 different color wheels with the white stripe down the middle with blue sidewalls, and it had pegs on the front and back. And so I think it's just these specific experiences as a child that really helped me discover my love for being outside and moving my body in ways that feel good to me. Heading up left hand. It's about a 7-ish mile climb, paved up the Rowena. We just entered the Roosevelt National Forest, so see if we can find a river pull off and cool off a little bit. I think this will do. And part of my intention, as I said before, with this video is to call attention to the fact that these very lands that I'm standing on are at risk. I know it's something that we all may not want to think about, but it's just the reality of the situation right now. And my hope is that by telling my story, it will inspire all of you to determine how you want to take action, if you haven't already. And we can do things by calling on our senators and representatives for the state that we live on to be the voice for the people and let them know that this is not something that we want. Bikepacking has opened my eyes to this. It's allowed me to understand how precious the resources and the lands and the rivers and the mountains and the open space that we all can love and enjoy are at risk. And my hope is that we can stand together and take action to say that this is not okay. And if I could distill it down to a single point of why I bikepack, why I love riding bikes, it's because it allows me to immerse myself in nature. It allows me to connect in a present way with the land around me and the culture around me and the people around me. And it's this perfect blend of allowing me to slow down and enjoy being outside, mixed with challenge and maybe a little bit of unknown and adversity. And it's that balance and blend that really drives me to continue spending my time doing this. All right, we made it to Rowena. If you're not familiar with this trail, it connects Left Hand Canyon to Sunshine Canyon. So it's about 2 miles from the start of the trail to the top. So far from the door, 24 miles and 2,300 feet of climbing. Alright, we made it to the top of Rowena, and now we have a paved descent back to town. All the climbing's out of the way, about 2,700 feet so far. And yeah, just to put a bow kind of on my story, is that, you know, I think bike packing for me, adventure cycling, whatever you want to call it, has really taught me a lot about myself. You know, when I first got into cycling, I was very much of the mindset of I had to ride the fastest, I had to ride the longest, I had to worry about things like cadence and heart rate variability, and especially coming from an athletic background, you know, those things felt very organic to me. And the more that I invested time into riding my bike, the more I realized that those things just really aren't important to me anymore. I respect the hell out of people who, you know, have built their life and their careers around racing and, you know, FKTs and accolades, and am quite honestly inspired by a lot of that and the work that I do and the adventures that I curate. But today, it's no longer about that for me. It's about using my bike as a vehicle to slow down and to experience the environment and the nature around me, and to connect with people who enjoy doing the same. And so I hope that gives you a little bit of inspiration about my story. And I think everybody has their own story and reasons for why they do it, and you know, pursue the things that they love. But my hope is that you just pursue the things that you're curious about. And so I guess, like, to not get super philosophical here, is that the way that I think about bikes, to me, is equivalent to freedom. The ability to take your bike to places that cars can't take you, to be able to see the landscape and the mountains and the canyons and valleys change over the course of 30 minutes is something that you just don't get when you ride in a car. And there's something about, you know, riding bikes, you know, later, like in adulthood, for me, that just takes me back to my childhood. And I often think about those days when I would ride bikes with cousins in campgrounds, and you know, stay up till the sun was down, just out in the woods riding bikes. And it's some of the most fondest memories of my life. And so that's what biking is to me. And my hope with this episode this week was to give you a little bit of a window into that, and why I do what I do and why I pursue the things that I do, and also give a little bit of depth behind the content that I'm creating. And I hope that it resonates with you, and it often will spur you to reflect on why you pursue the things that you pursue. And you know, if I can do that and influence one person at a time, then that's a win for me. This week, I hope you enjoyed my story and learning a little bit more about me. If there's one thing that I hope you can take away from this video, it's to take some sort of action to defend our public lands. I feel like we're in a very defining moment in America right now, and as much as we all don't want to think about that, it's our reality. And so I'll drop a couple links of ways for you to take action and get involved, ways that I've got involved, in the description of this video below. And thank you for supporting my channel. If you are curious about some of the other videos I got going on, you can check out my solo overnighter from last week. I'll drop that in the description as well, and we'll see you next week.